What? What? One more time. Yeah, run it back, nation. What is good? It is DJ Eastwood, run it back Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intros. Algo gang. 121 people in here already. Give me 121 likes. If you're watching this on replay, hit the like button. Let's get to 1,000. 1,000 likes is a new norm for this show. If you watch these shows and you're not subscribed to the channel, please do that. About 50% of people that watch these regularly, because it pops up in your algorithm, are not actually subscribed to the channel. It doesn't help you out at all to be subscribed. Subscribers basically mean nothing at this point on YouTube. It just helps me out, literally for the number. Let's get to 20,000. So hit the subscribe button, help me get to 20,000. And turn your notification bell on. I think that's all I got. Yeah. Let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it. Where are my notes at? You know, I'm not Tom Arnone out here. I need notes. Shout out to A2D Radio. Okay. Let's get started. Thanks for being here. The Philadelphia 76ers are 5-1 and are drama-free. Which part's better? Being 5-1 or being drama-free? I haven't felt like I could assess this team without just a kind of a negative feeling for a long time, you know, and it really has nothing to do with being 5-1. Like if you were right now the San Antonio Spurs, you could still assess the team and have a good, hey, we got the number one pick. We got this, we got that. Here's all that. You could still be positive. For like years talking about this team, it was just kind of negative and it sucked. I feel like I can just be positive. And, you know, even if they come up short, you feel like they're playing the game the right way and they're trying hard, you know? So if they lose a game, even the game they lost to the Bucks, it's not like you felt like the Sixers played like frauds. They fought hard. Joel Embiid played hero ball in the third quarter or whatever, fourth quarter, and then the referees screwed us over. But you just feel like no matter what, this team is, it's kind of fun to talk about, and it's fun to kind of look forward to the big-time matchups and the potential this season. And even if they don't, you know, get out of the second round again, I just feel like they're playing the game the right way, and it's been enjoyable so far. I want to thank James Harden. James Harden, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Because James Harden is the lone individual that changed the future of this team. James Harden is the lone individual that changed the future of the Philadelphia 76ers and may have set us up to be the best we've been since the 80s. James Harden may have set us up to be the best that we've been since the Dr. J era. Thank you, James Harden. Think about it like this. If James Harden wasn't the fraud that he is, none of this probably would have ever happened. Think about that. Ben Simmons was sitting out. Ben Simmons was so scared of Philadelphia fans that he chose to not show up and lost $20 million. Once we realized we had to trade Ben Simmons, James Harden started being a fraud over in Brooklyn, and he just got there. And he said, I want out of Brooklyn, and he said, I want to go to Philly. Trade me to Philly. So Daryl Morey makes the trade for James Harden. Gave up some future assets, yeah. I didn't think the trade was the best trade probably available in that offseason. But still, James Harden being a fraud and running away from Brooklyn is the reason we got rid of Ben Simmons. So he handled that for us, right? Then he comes in here, sells this dream to us, whatever, sells a bunch of tickets, and falls flat on his face in the playoffs, blames it on a hamstring injury, comes back the next season, falls flat on his face in the playoffs, and he starts to call out the system, and he starts to blame Doc Rivers. Didn't say his name, but definitely blamed Doc Rivers a lot. And Doc Rivers got fired. James Harden helped us get rid of Ben Simmons, and then he got Doc Rivers fired. And then he said, my job here is done. I've saved the 76ers. Now I want to leave. And then he got himself traded to the Clippers. And he got us some role players and some draft assets along with it. And he helped us get rid of PJ Tucker. James Harden helped us get rid of Ben Simmons. He got Doc Rivers fired. Then he traded himself to the Clippers and gave us the assets that Daryl Morey traded for him in the first place. Shout out to James Harden for saving the Sixers. Thank you, James Harden, for saving the Sixers. I could not be happier about the situation, and you are the reason. You are the reason. So thank you. And I hope you're happy over there in Clipperland, playing a system that actually requires you to give up the ball more than you were needing to give up the ball here in Philly, which is the reason you said you wanted to leave, which makes absolutely no sense because you're a delusional psychopath. But thank you for saving the Sixers. Crazy silver lining. If James Harden doesn't act a fraud and want out of Brooklyn, and we trade Ben Simmons maybe for something else, a better trade, and say Tyrese Halliburton, say the Sixers end up with Tyrese Halliburton instead of James Harden, right? And then say the Sixers somehow squeak out of the second round last year. Doc Rivers doesn't get fired. If the Sixers get out of the second round last season, Doc Rivers does not get fired, and we continue with this repetitive process of the same thing every year because the team flat out was not being coached. They needed to lose. And who said that, actually? Who said the Sixers need to lose? Oh, look. I just posted this today. 8 months ago, DJ Eastwood of Run It Back Philly posted a clip from the show with Romp where he said explicitly, I would rather lose in the second round so that major changes come to this basketball team than have the Philadelphia 76ers escape the second round and have an excuse to keep Doc Rivers around. And there was a lot of hate on that opinion, but it was 100% correct. The Sixers needed to flop the way they flopped last season so that major changes could happen for the future of this team, and that is exactly what happened. And people were in the comments like, are you rooting against your own team? Are you preying on your own team's downfall? Yes, I was. Now, in my heart of hearts, I was sitting there watching the game saying, come on, please do this. Don't be a fraud. I want them to win. The fan of me wants them to win. But yeah, at the same time, I was like, hey, if they collapse, we can finally end this whole situation that I know is going nowhere anyway. And that's what happened. Bang, trust the process. Yeah, look at this, man. Sixer Daily. We haven't seen this type of camaraderie around the Sixers in nearly 2 years, back when the team rallied without Ben Simmons. They started that season 8-2. They start this season after the James Harden trade 5-1. And both times, the stan base of those players told us this wouldn't happen. The Ben Simmons stan base said, you're nothing without Ben Simmons. If he doesn't play, you guys are screwed. He's I don't know what they used to call him. He does everything on the floor. He's a glue guy. He's more important than the box score shows. Whatever. Wasn't true. They were better without him. 2023, the James Harden stan base every day. You guys are nothing without Harden. You're not even going to make the playoffs. And lo and behold, the Sixers are 1 point away from being 6-0 without James Harden. So they're wrong again. And the Sixers just end up being better without a guy like that. So there's that. 296 people in here. Give me 296 likes on the show. We got a lot of things to talk about. It's going to be a fun one. Stay active in the chat. Yeah. And speaking of 2021, when Ben Simmons sat out, here's a clip that, oh, look, it's DJ Eastwood again. I'm not tooting my own horn here, but, you know, before the season started, there was a bleak outlook on this team. And I said this. What did I say? He is the year Ben Simmons sat out, being the that he is, the Philadelphia 76ers, with Tyrese Maxey at the helm. He was just turning 21 when this happened. That team started the season 8-2. They were 35-23 by the All-Star break. But you also have to look at who they played in those games. Without James Harden, without Ben Simmons, just young 21-year-old Tyrese Maxey playing point guard around Joel Embiid. The 76ers beat the Nuggets, the Warriors, the Kings, the Celtics twice, the Raptors, the Miami Heat, the Brooklyn Nets with James Harden and KD dropping 33 points apiece. In that Nets game, Tyrese Maxey had 25 and Embiid had 34. They beat the Milwaukee Bucks in that stretch. The Milwaukee Bucks full roster 123-120. And in that Milwaukee Bucks game, Maxey had 19, Tobias had 19, Niang had 18, and Embiid had 42. And Furkan Korkmaz had 13 off the bench. I just said Niang had 18. That fatso's out of here, right? You guys see his media day picture?
Niang strays, man.
It's not the minivan anymore. It's the FedEx truck. Furkan Korkmaz is terrible.
Well, he's not
so we're talking about adding
right
Nick Nurse to this situation. Year 4, Tyrese Maxey. Nick Nurse. Year 4, Tyrese Maxey. A couple of actually athletic players on the squad.
That's before the Harden trade happened.
Like Kelly Oubre Jr., Jaden Springer.
May have been wrong about that one.
I think the Sixers can be good.
Maybe I'm tripping.
The year Ben Simmons...
Oh yeah, there was a comment. One of the. I get your enthusiasm, but I'm not drinking that Kensington Kool-Aid this year, my friend. Maxey. Oh, here's a good one. They started 8-2, then they went 2-8. Maxey is not a point guard. Playing him at point guard is a disservice. Oh, David James, how wrong do you want to be, my friend? Yeah, you know, I was wrong. I mean, I don't know if Korkmaz is... Maybe Doc Rivers is just that bad, and Nick Nurse is just that much better, that Korkmaz is actually a serviceable player. Jaden Springer has looked not good so far. But my point was, I was just looking at it like, hey, look. You got year 4 Tyrese Maxey. You got a new coach who's going to implement a system that actually takes advantage of players' skill sets and is actually creative on the floor. You got Kelly Oubre Jr. I just didn't see how they could be worse with all of those changes. It was kind of obvious to me. And they start the season 5-1. Big game against the Celtics on Wednesday. Huge game against the Celtics on Wednesday. I can't wait. This is my regular season Super Bowl. It's going to be a blast. And, of course, we're going to be live on Playback TV watching that. Yeah, there's that. Derek with God, what's going on, my man? Thanks for the super chat. I got a fair question. Does Zach LaVine really elevate this team? In my opinion, he doesn't. Trading for stars halfway never works. What do you think? Now, I'm on the... I have my sights set on a player that fits the system and fits the stars that are already on this team a lot better, and that is OG Anunoby, a big body, hard-nosed defender who also has an offensive game, can shoot, dribble, pass, get to the rim. I'm all in on OG. I think he would be an amazing fit on this team, and you know, with the Anthony Melton starting thing is still up in the air, and do you want Oubre coming off the bench or starting? I think OG Anunoby answers those questions for you and takes this team to the next level, even defensively. And yeah, Zach LaVine, really, I like Zach as a scorer. I would like him as a third option scorer. I mean, if you can have Zach LaVine as a third option scorer, that's pretty damn good. But at this point, the way Tobias Harris is playing, it would be a little bit redundant unless Tobias is in the trade. If Tobias is in that trade, then that's that kind of takes me in a different direction too. But I'm going OG over Zach for the defense and just the overall fit. That's where I am with that.
And thanks for the question. What's next? The Clippers lost to the Knicks last night in James Harden's debut. And I just want to give my thoughts on it briefly. I, for the life of me, do not understand what the hell the Clippers were thinking making this trade, but thankfully they did. I don't understand what James Harden really wants. He went from running pick and rolls with Joel Embiid to running pick and rolls with Zubac and fucking Hardenstein. Like, that's where he's at now. You know what I'm saying? Like, the grass isn't always greener, my guy. I just can't believe this guy pushed his way out of this team to play for the Clippers. And Paul George only got up 11 shot attempts. He was only 2 for 11. It was a bad shooting night for Paul George, so maybe he shouldn't have shot the ball more. But if you just look at the shot attempts, Russell Westbrook put up 13. I think Russell Westbrook and James Harden is probably the worst two players you could put next to Paul George and Kawhi Leonard to try to elevate them. These are not, maybe Harden without Westbrook is a little bit more of an elevator, but Westbrook and Harden, I don't understand it. And the Knicks beat the Clippers in their opener. Of course, they're going to build chemistry, and you can't be like, oh, first game, they suck. I'm not saying that. They're going to win some games. They're going to look a lot better. I just personally do not understand putting another player on the floor that needs the ball in his hands. And with having future unprotected picks from the LA Clippers, we have every reason to prey on their downfall. We are now preying on the downfall of the Los Angeles Clippers for the next, what do we got? 2028 unprotected or something like that. For the next 5 years, we're preying on the downfall of the LA Clippers. And you know, it's just a perfect match. I get to pray that James Harden loses and retires, and I get to pray that the Clippers lose and we get better draft picks out of it. So shout out to the Clippers for losing to the Knicks in James Harden's debut. He wasn't terrible. He had 17 points, 6 assists, 6 for 9 from the field. Just an odd fit. I don't think it makes the Clippers any better, and it's their fans are not happy about it either. There's somebody tweeted me and said, "Why the hell did we trade for PJ Tucker? He's so cooked, it's ridiculous." I was watching a little bit of the game last night in between the Sixers, like timeouts and halftime, and I saw a fast break. And by the way, these are the people that told me on TikTok and Instagram and everywhere else, PJ's a dog, you don't know what you're talking about, because we watched, Sixers fans, we watched him play the last 2 years. He's done. They didn't watch him play the last 2 years. All they know is that PJ Tucker's a dog. So they're telling me, you don't know what you're talking about, PJ Tucker's a dog. I saw a fast break last night where Paul George went behind his back to a trailing PJ Tucker, and he blew a wide open layup on a fast break. PJ Tucker can't even jump anymore. He can't, not that he could before really, but he can't do anything. He can't even get off the ground. He's literally retired right now playing basketball. He's done. I can't believe that we got first-round picks and they took on the PJ Tucker contract. Who is running the Clippers organization? It's got to be a 12-year-old playing 2K. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. And PJ Tucker's 6'5", and he's the shortest 6'5" person I've ever seen in my life. He just looks like I mean, probably the fact that he can't jump makes him look shorter, but 6'5" and can't put the ball in the hoop right in front of the rim. That's wild. He's done. And yeah, Sixers won the trade by a landslide. And I already apologized to Daryl Morey, and I'll apologize a million more times. I'm happy. Speaking of the trade, the player that we got in the trade that is probably the biggest, will be the biggest contributor to the squad is Nick Batum. And I said Nick Batum still had some left in the tank. Even the people that were coming at me saying these players that the Sixers got in return are garbage, they're cooked, they're washed, they're done. I was like, I don't know, man. Like, Nick Batum still has something left in the tank here. You know what I'm saying? Nick Batum still got some game. And Nick Batum is the exact opposite. Speaking of PJ Tucker, Nick Batum is the exact opposite of PJ Tucker. He is the exact opposite. And maybe we got PJ Tucker 2 years ago because Joel Embiid said it in a post game that we need some dogs on this team. But speaking of just like actual fit and what you should be putting around Joel Embiid, PJ Tucker wasn't it. I guess we thought he could still be a lethal threat from the corner. He just ended up being done. Nick Batum is actually a threat on the perimeter, and he has a quick trigger. And so many plays last night in that first quarter. He hit 3 threes in the first quarter, made his first 4 shots as a Sixer, and he was playing off of Joel. And it's so nice to see Joel swing the ball or kick the ball out of a double team, and the player catching it on the perimeter is ready to shoot right away. The player catching it is not indecisive. He's not going to pump fake and do something weird. He's not George Niang where he needs a mile of space to get the shot off because he's stuck in quicksand. He just catches it and shoots it. And Nick Batum commented on playing alongside Joel Embiid. And he's 34 years old, but you don't need this guy to be super athletic. You don't need this guy to play like a 25-year-old. You need this guy to be able to catch and shoot. That's it. You need him to know where to be on the floor and catch and shoot. And he's going to do that for you. And Nick Batum might be the biggest steal in this Harden situation if he doesn't retire and he plays the game for 2 or 3 more years. Nick Batum is a big time return in the Harden trade. And here's what he said about playing alongside Joel Embiid.
My first 7 years I played with LaMarcus Aldridge, so it makes the game pretty easy for me. That's different. I was different though. Oh my God, no, I hated him though. I mean, Joe is my guy. We know each other for a while. We got the same roots from Cameroon. So we've been friends for a while, but I used to hate being on the other side. You got some guys who are just happy to be on their side. And to be on this side, like tonight, yeah, it's fun. I've been there, like game like this, you get like 40-some and 15, and it's not fun though. To be in this side during those kind of nights, yeah, it's cool.
Shout out to Nick Batum. What a nice guy. And he's happy to be playing alongside Joel Embiid, and he witnessed it for the first time last night, what it's like to play alongside Joel Embiid. And you know what? I say this about a lot of players that come here. Kelly Oubre is one of them also. A lot of these guys have played for a lot of different teams and have never, actually most of them, have never played with somebody that has the gravity on the floor that Joel Embiid has, because Joel Embiid has more gravity on the floor than maybe anybody since Shaquille O'Neal in 2000. So guys like this who are ready to catch and shoot on the perimeter, they're now playing with a guy that commands so much attention, they're wide fucking open. Maybe Nick Batum has never been this wide open in his life. Maybe Kelly Oubre has never been this wide open in his life. Maybe it opens up a lot of things, but you know, I think Nick Batum might benefit insanely from playing alongside Joel Embiid, and maybe he plays this season and he realizes, hey, you know, I still got a lot left, and I'm wide open all the time. I'm going to sign a nice little 3-year deal with the Sixers. My wife can just deal with it. Let's go make some more money. Let's keep playing basketball. That's where I'm at with Nick Batum. One game, but I just think he's a perfect fit. He's just a quick trigger, and he's got size, and he's just going to catch and shoot it, and that's all we need you to do. I get Ersan Ilyasova vibes, Just shoot threes and take charges on the other end. You don't have to do anything else. And speaking of Nick Batum possibly retiring, the other day, I missed this somehow, but he actually went back on that, and he said, I had a very bad situation family-wise to handle, so I had to step away, which, hope everything's all right with the family and stuff. He didn't give any information on that, but he said there was a plan before I took the plane. I let the team know I wasn't gonna be there. I'm not retiring or anything. I'm happy to be here. I'm not retiring or anything. I just had to take care of something. Sometimes stuff is bigger than basketball, so I have to deal with it and take care of it. And he says, I don't consider retirement. I don't know where that came from. So, there was an article where his wife said that he is retiring after the Olympics this upcoming summer. And, that was, his wife said it. He's saying, I don't know where it came from. Came from your house, buddy. But anyway, he says, I'm not retiring. Hey, babe, you like this house? You like all these millions of dollars? You like these cars? You like this lifestyle? I'm going to play basketball for 3 more years. Fucking deal with it. Let's go, Nick Batum. Woo! The Sixers have actual wings on this roster that are under 40 years old, are taller than 6'5", and don't have torn ACLs for the first time since the 80s. There's depth. There's depth on the Sixers team. Holy hell, there's depth on the Sixers team. And I watch a lot of other basketball games, and over the years, I've seen so many teams that have so much depth and so many combo guards and so many young players coming out of nowhere. And for years, I was like, where's the Sixers depth? Where's the Sixers, like, where are these players? Where's our Jose Alvarado? You know what I'm saying? Like, where's these guys at? And finally, I feel like we're getting some players, some NBA level role players. And I'm very happy about it. The comment that, I just read off of Twitter, one of the Twitter replies that said playing Tyrese Maxey at point guard is a disservice. Is fun because Tyrese Maxey just had a 10-assist game 2 days ago. Last night he had a career high 11 assists. And just like after year 1, people said Tyrese Maxey will never be a three-point shooter, and he came back and was a 42% three-point shooter. Just like the year after that, they said Tyrese Maxey's one-dimensional. He's only really a scorer. He can't shoot a mid-range. He doesn't have a bag. He doesn't have a step back. He doesn't have a crossover. Came back the next year and had a step back and had crossovers and had a different array of moves and finishes and shots and finishing around the rim on all that. The last piece was Tyrese Maxey's not a point guard. He can't pass the ball. He goes into the offseason again, and he comes back, and suddenly Tyrese Maxey looks like a point guard. And he's running a pick and roll with Joel Embiid. He's running a 2-man game with Joel Embiid, and it has been relatively unstoppable when they get into certain situations, at least against the teams we've been playing so far. And the Raptors couldn't stop it, and the Raptors are a good defensive team, lots of length, lots of athleticism out there. They can switch everything, and they couldn't stop it. Tyrese Maxey, career high 11 assists, is seeing the floor. Last night he actually forced an alley-oop that I didn't like, but that's the way that he's playing now. He's trying to see more things happening while he's attacking the basket or running a fast break or whatever. And he's becoming a point guard. He's becoming a facilitator, and I couldn't be happier about it. And he just keeps proving everybody wrong. He's proving me wrong. Yes, I did say last year that I don't think Tyrese Maxey's a point guard. I thought that he was a better as a shooting guard, better as a just go score when you get space. He's looking more and more like a point guard every day. And Kyle Neubeck has an article kind of talking about it right here. And he's talking about the second half yesterday when they spammed the Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid 2-man game, and the Wizards couldn't stop it. This is the Wizards, but they're almost 6-0 by doing this basically against everyone so far. And it's Nick Nurse. And Nick Nurse in his postgame the other day said, when Tyrese Maxey was being passive in the first half, we came out the second half and we ran the same play 7 times. And then we flipped it and ran it the other way. The coach actually saw Tyrese Maxey being passive, went into halftime and said, that ain't going to work. We're running this play for you, and we're running it 7 fucking times in a row. And then we're flipping it and running on the other side of the floor, and we're going to spam it until the team has to stop it. Anyway, here's Neubeck's article. At halftime, Embiid was less than halfway to his eventual 48. Cooking to the end of the half, 19 off to a rough start. The Sixers came out of the tunnel. You could have been convinced that Embiid's plea to Nurse was the only thing that discussed during the break. Yeah, Embiid just went nuts in the third quarter. Philadelphia would not stop running that action to open the third quarter. The action is the play was a variation of something we've seen before, a pick and roll with an empty corner on the strong side, It looked a little different with James Harden at the controls, mostly because Harden is a lefty and used to clear out space. With Maxey at the controls looking to drive right, it puts the big man in open space, which he noticed even when he missed a shot out of it in the second quarter. It said Philadelphia would not stop running that action to open the third quarter. The Wizards showed appropriate fear of Maxey turning the corner and scoring at the basket, but never figured out the balance between slowing down Maxey and keeping track of Joel Embiid. With Gafford drifting into the middle of the lane over and over again, Embiid got clean look after clean look thanks to precise passing from his former teammate. And here it is. So it's Maxey on the wing, and I know it's small, but it's just simple. That's just so simple because when Maxey comes around the screen right here, if Gafford doesn't step up, he's going right into the paint and getting the floater or getting fouled and getting to the free throw line, and then Joel just rolls, and it's just, that's way too easy, and you're going to play better teams than the Washington Wizards, but I love the Maxey and Embiid two-man game right now, man. Key in the building, what's going on? Thanks for the super chat. I appreciate the support. What's up, Eastwood? Sixers are fun to watch again. I'm having a blast watching them. And again, even against the Boston Celtics this upcoming Wednesday, if they fight hard and they end up losing by a Jason Tatum, goes off in the fourth or whatever it is, I don't feel like this team is pissing me off with their effort or lack of aggression and things like that. So that's really why it's so much fun. Even if they were 3-2 right now, it would be fun or whatever. I love the way that they're playing right now. More so than just like, wins and losses. The Sixers are fun to watch again. A couple other things I want to cover before I get up out of here. Speaking of kind of sets that they run and plays that they run, I want to show you guys something. The Philadelphia 76ers, ladies and gentlemen, have learned how to break a zone for the first time in 40 years. The Philadelphia 76ers learned how to break a zone for the first time in 40 years. We used to see other teams run zone against the Brett Brown-led Sixers team, and there was no plan. We didn't. What do we do now? Nothing. We collapse. We lose the game. Doc Rivers, same situation. There was no adjustments. We don't know what to do. Once they run zone, they can hound Joel Embiid, and we don't have an answer. The Sixers have learned how to break a zone. And here's how. Right here, look at this play. This is the one with the Korkmaz dime on the baseline, but it's just ball movement and it's just beautiful basketball. In years past, right here, we would have tried to force the ball to Joel Embiid right here in the middle of the zone. They would have triple teamed, and he would have had to make a play. He would have had to pass out of a triple, and hopefully guys were in the right spots. There was usually like PJ Tucker and Tobias Harris over here sitting on top of each other in the corner or whatever. None of it ever made any sense. Now, okay, go back to Pat Bev. Okay, back to Morris, down to Korkmaz, breaks the zone, and Embiid in the middle, and Korkmaz makes a little woo, bang. What a play by Corky, the Turkish superstar. But yeah, that's how you break a zone. You got to move the ball, and you got to make the defense move. They make a move back, they make a move again. Morris takes a dribble. Now they don't know where to go. Oh, Embiid's wide open, and Mike Muscala and his dumb mullet are not going to stand a chance at stopping that. Somebody who's in the comments was mad because I made fun of Mike Muscala's mullet yesterday. What can you do? Somebody's always offended in these internet streets these days. 520 in here. Everybody hit the like button. Let me get 500. Let me get 500 likes. Let me get 500 likes. Lion Fighter. Wow, I can't read. Lion? Oh, Lion Fighter, like Joel Embiid fought a lion in Africa. Thanks for the support. What's good, brother? How fun is this team? Good vibes. Sixers are fun to watch again. Love the show, brother. Yeah! Thanks for being here, man. Thanks for supporting the channel. And yeah, they're fun to watch. They're fun to watch, man. They're fun to watch, I think, like, over the years of doing this, when I started doing this in 2018, I think, I couldn't believe what I was watching on the TV with Brett Brown and Ben Simmons and them trying to force Al Horford and Joel Embiid together, and it was horrible. It was horrible. And then Jimmy Butler left and all this stuff, and 2020 was terrible, and the playoff everything. And I never really liked what I was seeing, even with Joel Embiid being the superstar that he is. Anytime I celebrated this team, it felt forced. Joel would drop 50 on the Atlanta Hawks on a Tuesday night, and I would kind of have to act excited, but I kind of just didn't feel like the team had a chance because of the overall structure, the foundation. And so I spent 4 years right here on YouTube complaining. I spent 4 years being pissed off about what I was watching. And a lot of times I would get comments like, you just need to be negative. You always find a way to be negative. You just need to be negative. I hope those people are seeing right now that I was just negative because it wasn't good. I was just negative because there was a lot of issues. I don't just wake up choosing to be negative. I was looking at it and saying, I don't like this very much. Now you see what happens when the team looks like they're playing the way that they should play. I talk about them and I'm like, hey, I like what's happening. And again, it's not necessarily just because they're 5-1. It's because of the way that they're playing and the way that they're winning these games. If they lost a couple of these games by some players on the other team making some great shots or having great performances and just kind of beat us in the final seconds or whatever, I still would be happy with the way that they're playing. I think even if I go back to the Allen Iverson era in 2001, I never really felt like that team stood much of a chance. I knew they would beat a lot of teams, but when you looked at it and said, can they beat the Los Angeles Lakers? The answer was no. And even when they got all the way to the NBA Finals, you knew they were getting smoked. That's probably the most fun I had as a Sixers fan in the Allen Iverson era. And this is why I'm so happy right now, because I think Nick Nurse is the coach that can bring that back, and we can have a lot of fun again for a lot more years watching the Sixers. We're out of purgatory. That's really what I feel like. I feel like we're out of purgatory. We can have a lot of fun again watching the Sixers. What else we got, man? Last thing is the Boston Celtics lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves last night. So the Boston Celtics are 5-1. The Philadelphia 76ers are 5-1, and they meet on Wednesday. Tomorrow? What's today? Tuesday? Yeah, they meet tomorrow. Tomorrow night, Celtics, Sixers, both 5-1. I don't remember a regular season matchup this anticipated since the Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid games, but Joel would sit out some of them or something like that, whatever. It was annoying. And I'm having a good time because there's not as much load management anymore in the NBA. The COVID thing was terrible. Then it just lingered for 2 seasons where it was every other day somebody was, out for, what did they call it, man? They would get COVID, but they would call it something, and they'd be like COVID prevention, whatever. I don't know. It was terrible. It lingered for so long as far as just players missing games, and the regular season was not fun for a couple of years. I'm having the most fun watching the NBA regular season right now than I've had since 2017, maybe. So we're back. It took a long time. But, these teams are playing, if their players are healthy, they're playing all of their players. And there's been some amazing games to watch so far this season. There's been some great competition. Last night, the Boston Celtics lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards went nuts in overtime. Jalen McDaniels' brother, was a big part of putting the Celtics away last night. And I just think the Boston Celtics, their main flaw is the redundancy. I've said this a million times of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. I don't see the mesh. I see two guys taking turns. Nobody really knows who the leader is. It was clearly Jason Tatum. Then Jaylen Brown got the $300 million contract. Now Jaylen Brown thinks it's him. At the end of regulation, Jaylen Brown tried to take the game-winning shot with Jason Tatum standing there watching. I just don't think it works unless there's a clear, I just think you need to put better fits around. They should have chose. They should have chose one. And they didn't. They paid Jaylen Brown $300 million. So I just think that's going to ultimately be the Celtics' issue, is kind of their ISO ball and lack of ball movement. And I if the Sixers take them out on Wednesday, then I'm feeling real good. Porzingis has been great also. As long as he's healthy, I'm not acting like the Celtics are not, dominant team. It's not going to be easy. But I feel like finally that the Sixers are right there. They're right there. They're right there on that level. And I don't think the mainstream media is caught up yet, because they're going to talk about, you only played the Trailblazers and the Raptors and the whoever else. They didn't catch up yet. When we beat the Celtics on Wednesday, they're all going to be back. They're all going to be back. And somebody in the chat said Nick Nurse unlocked Embiid too. And yeah, he did. He did. All that ball movement, all that spacing, that play that I showed breaking the zone, that unlocked Embiid too. He doesn't have to work as hard to get to his spots, to get the shots that he needs to get. And last year we were saying, James Harden was the reason for that, and that could possibly be true also. It was true. James Harden got Joel Embiid a lot of easy looks. But I think right now it's just, you saw the way those players are working the perimeter, moving the ball, and Joel's kind of floating around in the middle. And if Joel Embiid was an MVP 33-point per game player under Doc Rivers with no real strategy other than give Joe the ball and let him do something with it, now you're taking that player and adding a system around him that makes sense. Look at Nikola Jokic in Denver. This is what Mike Malone and Nikola Jokic built that system together. That's why it works so well, and every single player is plugged in to fit that system. That's why the Nuggets are so damn good right now. We have a system now around Joel Embiid, and every single player is plugged in to fit that system. We could be the powerhouse of the East. I think there's one more move to be made, though. I do think that. And, because DeAnthony Melton had a better game last night, but I still think he's just a nice combo guard off the bench. I don't think DeAnthony Melton is a starting NBA shooting guard, but that's where I'm at, man. What you guys talking about in the chat? What you got in the chat? Throw some, comments, concerns, questions, hot takes, whatever you want, man. Throw it out there. Celtics get out on a pedestal every year, but they fold just like us. What have they accomplished? A finals appearance, Eastern Conference appearance. Yeah, you're right about that. The Boston Celtics are the Dallas Cowboys of the NBA. Every year on paper. Oh, the Boston Celtics are going to be dominant. The Boston Celtics, they went to the NBA Finals. They came back the next year. And the Celtics are doing it this year. They're doing it. And then they lost to the Miami Heat. They went 7 games with the Atlanta Hawks. And the Sixers were playing like frauds, and they went 7 games with us. They went 7 games with Doc Rivers and James Harden shooting like 12% from the floor 4 out of those 7 games. And Joel Embiid completely disappearing and quitting in Game 6 and Game 7 also. They went 7 games with us. Not sold on the Boston Celtics. Not sold. Do you think we make a move with the assets we have this year? Yeah, I think we do, because I think Daryl Morey's never done moving, and he's always trying to make the team better. And even if everybody likes the way that they look right now, and even if he likes the way that they look right now, he's still going to look at those assets and say, okay, because you're still in win now mode. You know what I mean? You're not in, hey, keep this Clippers 2028 unprotected first, because then in 2028 we can draft maybe the whatever best player in the draft. You're not looking at it like that. You're looking at it, we're still in win now mode.
Joel Embiid, the way he's playing right now, if he stays healthy, I would say has 3 more years of playing at this level, has 3 more seasons of playing high-level MVP type of Joel Embiid basketball, maybe 5. I don't know. But for the next 3 to 5, you're in win now mode. Your job is to use all of those assets to try to build the team and keep building the team and try to win, try to get there, try to get to the promised land. That's your job right now. You know, your job isn't to hold on to assets for the future. So they're going to make a move. They are going to make a move. I can pretty much guarantee you that, at least at the trade deadline, I think. Unless Daryl wants to wait till the offseason because they can clear a bunch of cap space if certain things don't work out. But yeah, I think if the Raptors continue to fold and maybe the Chicago Bulls continue to fold and the trade deadline approaches and these teams are going to be sellers, the Sixers are buyers right now. The Sixers are buyers right now. And again, Daryl Morey's back was against the wall, and he somehow got out of that James Harden situation and got out of the PJ Tucker situation and got first-round picks in return. He somehow, some way weaseled his way out of that situation, man. Man. Daryl Morey was Jesse Pinkman stuck in the bunker, and he was stacking the buckets up, jumping up and hanging on the poles and like unlocking himself. He somehow, some way got out of there. Made a key pick out of like a paper clip. He somehow got out of that damn bunker. And they caught him again and beat him up again. I just started watching the movie. It was after the show. I watched it one time before, but I just finished the show again. Started watching the movie El Camino. What a series, man. Anyway, what you got? Sixers are more fun to watch and love Nurse. Need more out of Reed or backup center. Yeah. Springer still looks raw too, but Nurse still likes to experiment. Yeah, Paul Reed hasn't looked, great. Not that Paul Reed ever looked great. I like, maybe it was, you know what? We probably loved Paul Reed so much last year because of the Sixers' lack of athleticism and offensive rebounding and just, dog mentality. We didn't have it. We didn't have anyone on the floor that flew around for, loose balls and offensive rebounds like Paul Reed does. And now we got a couple more guys that play that way. And so maybe, it's not as much of like, oh my God, did you see what he just did? Because you had Danny Green or Furkan Korkmaz or George Niang, PJ Tucker out there, whatever. I just think maybe we overhyped it because of the lack of athleticism on the team. Could you end up with a better backup center option? Yeah, but I think you can play that small ball second lineup. I don't think it's terrible. I don't think you need to have an Andre Drummond backup center, Who's the Denver Nuggets backup center? Look at some of the best rosters. Who's the backup center? You guys got the answer to that? Denver Nuggets roster. What do they play? Do they play like Aaron Gordon at small ball center in their bench rotation? They got DeAndre Jordan. Are the Nuggets really playing DeAndre Jordan right now? Are they really playing him at backup center? I thought that dude was retired. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, so I mean, who's the backup center? Then they got Jay Huff. Do they play Jay Huff at backup center? Vlatko Konkar? I have no idea who that is. Mason Plumlee? Well, Mason Plumlee got carried off the court last night. I didn't see what happened, but yeah, I mean, I don't, a lot of people, it's kind of like the Eagles with the backup quarterback situation. Everybody always thinks, well, what if what if Hurts gets injured? Then what? Then you're done. That's what happens. That's what happens. You're done.
If your starting quarterback goes down, you're done. You're not Nick Foles is not a thing that's going to happen forever, right? It's never going to happen again. So when people say things like, not that you said that, R, and thank you for the comment, R, and thank you for, contributing and all that, and thank you for being here. When people say things like, what happens if Joel gets injured? Who's your backup center? You're done if Joel gets injured. That's the answer. You're cooked. You're finished. What happened to the Bulls if Michael Jordan got injured? They were done. That's how that works. You know what I'm saying? Bring back Tony Bradley. Yo, did you know Tony Bradley's only like 26 years old? I thought Tony Bradley was old as hell. Mo Bamba is, no, not the answer, bro. Kai Jones to the Sixers. Let's go. Let's go. As long as, we can, I don't know, keep him. Is he playing? He's not playing right now, right? Maybe he's in a mental health institution or something. Kai Jones is having some serious issues lately. Hopefully he gets it together, and young guy that has a lot of tons of skill, tons of athleticism. Long, what is he, like 6'11", rim running center, just so much potential, and he's having some issues right now. Hopefully he gets it together, and when he gets it together, yeah, dude, let's get him out here, green hair and all. We'll go red, white, and blue hair. Jamie Slack, Morey would be smart to wait and see how things go for the next month or two. See how this team performs and whatever injuries might happen, then make a move or two if needed. Would be smart to wait and see how things go for well, you can't trade the assets for the next month or two anyway. That's, you know what I mean? So there's that, the trade deadline is February, right? Something like that, around Valentine's Day. Am I right about that? And you can't trade the assets you got from the Clippers for 60 days anyway or something like that. So, the Batum and Covington and KJ Martin and Marcus Morris Sr., you can't trade them anyway until like midway through January or something. So they're going to have to wait anyway. I say this again, Seth Curry and Drummond fit this team perfectly. They should have stayed forever, or at least Drummond. I liked Drummond as a backup center, but, it's not really like a make or break player. There's not going to be a championship team and somebody says, whew, thank God they have Andre Drummond as a backup center or this would have never happened. Seth Curry's the same way. He's been on 6 different teams. Awesome shooting guard. Can't guard my 8-year-old who's downstairs right now playing Nintendo Switch. They're replaceable. And I love both of them, but they're replaceable. What else we got, man? Couple more comments. And I'm out of here. How do you feel about Karis LeVert? I like Karis LeVert. Where's he at now? Still in Cleveland? Karis LeVert's a sleeper. He was a baller when he was Indiana. Then he ended up in like Houston, I think. Then he ended up in Cleveland in the James Harden deal, right? Like a 3 or 4 team deal that sent like Karis LeVert and I forget, man. Oladipo. Both of those guys ended up in Cleveland somehow. I forget. Lots of 3 or 4 team trades. But yeah, I like Karis LeVert. He's had injury issues, but when he was in Brooklyn, he was good too. Him and Dinwiddie were those two like, combo guys that would just kill us when we played the Brooklyn Nets. I love Karis LeVert. Yeah, he was in Brooklyn. Now he's in Cleveland. Ant C, how about taking Ty Jones as a ball handler from the Wizards? He did big time last year with the Grizzlies. I like Ty Jones, man. And yeah, I think that's the Sixers thing right now, right? Do we have an actual backup point guard? Is Pat Bev really, an actual backup point guard? Is Pat Bev like a good enough backup point guard that you feel like you're, a contender in the playoffs? I don't know. DeAnthony Melton, yeah, they gotta work something out there. I would love a nice, facilitating, high IQ kind of guy, backup point guard, like a Malcolm Brogdon, like a Ty Jones. Yeah. There's definitely some things that can be done to this roster to kind of solidify it. But I don't think it has to be a major land another superstar type of thing. And I was saying that in the offseason. I was like, I don't know if the Sixers need another superstar, you know? You don't need, the super team era is over. Everybody trying to copy the 2010 Miami Heat, it's done. And then everybody tried to copy the Golden State Warriors for so many years. Well, let's just shoot 45, 53s a game. Let's try that. You're not Stephen Clay. You know what I mean? Now you're seeing the NBA is great right now. There's no super teams. There's parity across the league. Teams are playing team basketball. Each contending team has one or two all-stars and a lot of pieces that fit. It's a lot of fun to watch right now. The NBA is in a great place right now, except for the officials. They suck. They suck really bad. And last night they made up another rule where if a coach challenges a call, you can lose the challenge, but they can add a technical foul for an elbow after the play. And then you get free throws because you got fouled, but the bucket doesn't count because you got a technical. They made that shit up on the spot. But anyway, the NBA is great right now. Kevin Machafo, what's good? What do y'all think about KJ Martin? I see a lot of potential, but then again, we're way too deep. Look at us. Who would have thought? Look at us. We're saying this about the Philadelphia 76ers. We're way too deep. Who would have thought we'd be sitting here saying this? I see a lot of potential, but then again, we're way too deep. 48 minutes is not enough. KJ Martin got in the game at the end of the game last night, and he got on a fast break and did like a weak layup and got blocked at the rim. And I was like, yo, where's the poster dunks at, KJ? I'm watching highlights of you in Houston. You were bouncing off the floor like you were playing slam ball. And now you put on a Sixers jersey and you do a weak little layup and get blocked at the rim. The only reason you're on the floor is to give me a highlight poster dunk. So next time I need a 360 through the legs, all right? But not being funny, being realistic, KJ, I don't know. You know, I don't know what he has. I know he has crazy athleticism. I think once he becomes a little more acclimated, we'll see more of him. With Jaden Springer, playing like a scared little girl lately, maybe we'll see more of KJ Martin. And Jaden Springer's 20 years old, but Jaden Springer has been getting on the floor lately and just looking terrified when the ball gets in his hands. And it's frustrating, and I think he has a ton of potential. And watching him play in the G League and watching him play in the Summer League, he can ball. Jaden Springer can ball, but he gets nervous. He still gets nervous when he gets the ball in his hands in an NBA game. And so Jaden Springer needs some more time. He's 20 years old, Maybe he ends up getting sent back to the G League for a couple more years or something. His offensive game, he has offensive game. He's in his own head when he's on the NBA floor. So maybe you see more KJ Martin over Jaden Springer moving forward. I'm not sure, but hopefully Jaden just gets some, hopefully they just work on like, hey man, you're getting the ball and then you just look indecisive and you look like you don't know what to do, and then you force up some weird stuff and like you're not comfortable. So hopefully, maybe Jaden Springer gets more comfortable with the ball in the NBA or whatever. But that's all I got, man. Sixers are 5-1. Big time matchup against the Boston Celtics tomorrow night. We will be there. We will be streaming it on Playback TV. And if the Celtics full roster is active, which I don't think they have any injuries right now, and the Sixers full roster is active, and we beat the Boston Celtics on tomorrow night, I'm going to be on a different level. You think I'm unbearable right now? You think I'm overhyping this team right now? You think I'm drinking the Kool-Aid right now? If we beat the Celtics tomorrow night, I'm going to be unbearable. Hey, thank you guys for hanging out with me, man. Hit the like button, subscribe, turn on your notifications, tell your friends, tell your grandma to watch, tell your girlfriend, tell your mom. Go Sixers, Celtics are frauds. James Harden's a loser.